Let folly praise, let fancy love, I praise and love and chant, whose heart no thought, whose tongue no word, whose hand no deed defiant. I praise him most, I love him best, all praise and love is his. With him I love, in him I live, and cannot love amiss. Love's sweetest mark, love's highest theme, man's most desired light. To love him life, to leave him death, to live in him delight. Him I my gift, I his my debt, us to each other do. As friend he was, as friend he is, all times will try him true. Though young yet wise, though small yet strong, though man yet God he is, as wise he knows, as strong he can, as God he loves to bless. His knowledge rules, his strength defends, his love doth cherish all. His birth our joy, his life our light, his death our end of thrall. Alas, he weeps, he sighs, he pants, yet do his angels sing. Out of his tears, his sighs and groans, the heart a joyful spring. Oh, bonny prince, whose tender arms can force all foes to fly, correct my faults, protect my life, direct me when I die.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
By thy immaculate conception, O Mary, make my body pure and my soul holy. My mother, preserve me this night from mortal sin. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
By thy immaculate conception, O Mary, make my body pure and my soul holy. My mother, preserve me this night from mortal sin. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
By thy immaculate conception, O Mary, make my body pure and my soul holy. My mother, preserve me this night from mortal sin. Good afternoon. It's today, Wednesday, the 23rd of March 2022, and today it's Feria Day. From today's Roman Martyrology. In Africa, the holy martyrs Victorian, proconsul of Carthage, and two brothers from Aquaregia, also two merchants named Frumentius, who, as Bishop Victor Africanus tells us, were subjected to the most atrocious torments for the courageous confession of the Catholic faith, and who were gloriously crowned martyrs under Arian King Huneric during the persecution of the Vandals. And in other places, many other holy martyrs, confessors, and virgins.
Deo gratias.
Today is Wednesday, and this day is kept in honor of Saint Joseph, and tomorrow is Thursday, and that day is kept in honor of the Blessed Sacrament. Dear soul here from the holy island of Papastonse, I'm glad to welcome you again to the broadcasting channel of the Saint of the Most Holy Redeemer, and to wish you the abundant graces of our Lord and the protection of Our Lady. From the Glories of Mary, by our Holy Father Saint Alphonsus. Chapter 5. Today do we sigh, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. of the necessity of the intercession of Mary for our salvation. We are confirmed in this opinion by so many theologians and fathers, of whom it is certainly incorrect to say, as the above named author does, that in exaltum Mary they spoke hyperbolically and allowed great exaggerations to fall from the lips. To exaggerate and speak hyperbolically is to exceed the limits of truth. And truly, we cannot say that saints who are animated by the Spirit of God, which is truth itself, spoke thus. If I may be allowed to make a short digression, I give my own sentiment. It is that when an opinion tends in any way to the honor of the Most Blessed Virgin, when it has some foundation, and is repugnant neither to the faith, nor to the decrees of the Church, nor to the truth, the refusal to hold it, or to oppose it because the reverse may be true, shows little devotion to the Mother of God. Of the number of such as these I do not choose to be, nor do I wish my reader to be so, but rather of the number of those who fully and firmly believe all that can without error be believed of the greatness of Mary, according to the abbot Rupert, who amongst the acts of homage most pleasing to this good mother, places that of firmly believing all that redounds to her honor. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
From the way to converse continually and familiarly with God, by our Holy Father Saint Alphonsus. Chapter 5. Practical Summary. And now to finish, I wish to briefly remind you here of what has been said already, and to recommend to you a devout practice by which you may make all your daily actions pleasing to God. When you awake in the morning, let it be your first thought to raise up your mind to God, to offer in His honor whatever you may have to do or suffer during the day, and to beseech Him to assist you by His holy grace. Then make the morning acts of a Christian, acts of love, of gratitude, and acts of petition, resolving to spend the day as if it were to be the last of your life. Father Saint Jure recommends the making of a covenant with God, that as often as you make a certain sign, such for example as placing your hand upon your heart, or raising your eyes towards heaven, or to the crucifix, and the like, you thereby intend to make an act of love, of desire to see Him loved by all, of oblation of yourself to Him, and other acts of the same kind. When then you have made the above-mentioned acts, having placed your soul in the sight of Jesus, and in the mantle of Mary, and having besought the Eternal Father for the love of Jesus and Mary to protect you during the day, proceed immediately, before you do anything else, to make mental prayer or meditation for at least half an hour. Love, especially meditation, to dwell frequently on the sorrows and outrages which Jesus Christ suffered in his passion. This of all subjects is the most dear to devout souls and most excites in them the love of God. If you wish to make spiritual progress, you should have at heart, especially and before all other three devotions, namely, devotion to the Passion of Jesus Christ, to the Blessed Sacrament, and to the Ever-Blessed Virgin. In your meditation, make frequent acts of contrition, of the love of God, and of oblation of your whole self to Him. The Venerable Father Charles Carafa said that a fervent act of the love of God, made in the morning meditation, was sufficient to maintain the soul in fervor throughout the whole day. So there we see how important the virtue of love is. We have heard it from Jesus in the Gospel that we should love God above all else and we should love our neighbor as ourselves. And that should be during all our activities during the day be the case. And St. Alphonsus so clearly says what we can do in practice to keep this love living vivid in our daily life. One of the things is to make a good and fervent act of love of God at the beginning of the day in our morning prayers. The form of today, first hour, notices and Holy Rosary, and after that, St. Patrick's Breastplate, exorcism, and after that, the devotions. Devotions of today, praise to St. Joseph in honor of his joys and sorrows, and the litany of St. Joseph. I will now read from the Catechism of Reverend Spirago, Imprimate of the Church of 1899. We were at the 3rd and 4th Commandment of the Church. The Church allows Catholics to make their Easter confession elsewhere than in the parish church. The Church is aware that some find it easier to disclose the wounds of their soul to a stranger, and she permits this in order to prevent such persons from approaching the sacraments unworthily. Formerly, everyone was bound to go to his parish priest as a mark of respect. Christian burial can be denied to a Catholic who has not been in the habit of receiving the sacraments at Easter, and who dies unrepented. This is done in the case of one who neglects of his duty is publicly known, and who has been admonished in vain by his pastor. Before refusing Christian burial, the priest is bound to refer the matter to the bishop, and if time does not allow of this, he takes the most lenient course. The 5th Commandment of the Church. By the 5th Commandment of the Church, we are bound to contribute to the support of our pastors. The 6th Commandment of the Church. Marriage and the penitential seasons. In the 6th Commandment, marriage with non-Catholics is forbidden. Also the marriage of those who are related within the 4th degree of kindred. Marriages are not to be solemnized during fixed seasons. These penitential times are from the beginning of Advent until the Epiphany, and from Ash Wednesday until Low Sunday. This rule was made by the Council of Trent. Formerly, the prohibition also included the period between the Monday of Vocation Week until the first Sunday after Pentecost. In some countries, at the present time, it applies to the vocation days and all fasts throughout the year. Advent and Lent are seasons of penance and sorrow for sin, and festivities ill accord with sorrow. Moreover, in Advent the Church proposes the mystery of the Incarnation, and in Lent the mystery of the redemption for our meditation, and it would be unseemly to divert our minds from these solemn subjects by worldly amusements. The bishop can give permission for marriages to be contracted privately during these times. For their public solemnization, the authorization of the Holy See is necessary. Concerts are not forbidden, but dances are. Those who transgress this command expose themselves to the judgment God threatens by the prophet. I will turn your feast into mourning. Amos 8. The fourth commandment of God. The fourth commandment of God enjoins upon us to honor His representatives upon earth, that is to say, our parents, and both the ecclesiastical and secular authorities. Our duties towards our parents. Our parents are to be honored, because they are God's representatives and our greatest benefactors. We are all children of our Father in heaven, and He causes us to be fed and brought up by our earthly parents. Thus parents take the place of God in regard to the education of their children. They are His representatives, and as such the honor due to Him must be paid to them, for the viceroy can claim the same respect as the monarch who has delegated his authority to him. Those who despise their parents despise God Himself. St. Augustine, after his conversion, bitterly regretted the disrespect he had shown the mother God had given to him, knowing that thereby he had shown disrespect to God. Our parents are moreover our greatest benefactors. How much, exclaimed Saint Ambrose, has not thy mother suffered on thy account? How many sleepless nights, how many privations, how much anxiety has he not borne for thee? How hard thy father has worked to provide thee with food and raiment, and canst thou be ungrateful to those who have done and suffered so much for thee? The Son of God Himself honored His mother and His foster father. It is said of Him that He was subject to them. Learn of Him to obey your parents. He honored them, though they were His servants. He loved and respected His mother, whose creator He was. He never forgot that as an infant He had lain on Mary's bosom, and had been carried in Joseph's arms. We ought to honor our parents by respectful behavior, love, and obedience. When God bids us honor our parents, He commands us to love and obey them, for this is included in the reverence we owe them. Love is due to them as our greatest benefactors. It is the first duty of a Christian to compensate his parents for the trouble and the sacrifices his education has entailed on them. The obligation to obey them ceases when there is no longer occasion for it. The duty of loving and respecting them only ends with their life. Respect towards our parents consists in esteeming them from our heart as God's representatives, and manifesting this esteem outwardly by word and deed. Esteem for our parents must be heartfelt, otherwise outward manifestations of esteem would be mere dissembling. Christ showed great respect for his mother at the marriage feast of Cana. For although he told her his hour for working miracles was not yet come, he complied with her request. We must honor our parents even if they are poor and in a humble class of life. Joseph, when governor of Egypt, showed great respect for his aged father. Although he was only a shepherd, he brought him to the king and presented him before him. Genesis 47. King Solomon rose from his throne to meet his mother, although she was not of royal lineage. He bowed to her and made her sit on his right hand. 3 Kings 2. Pope Benedict XI received his mother, who was a poor washerwoman, in the kindest manner when she went to him in the mean apparel of her class. Even if parents do not lead a virtuous life, they still have a claim upon the respect of their children because of the position they hold in regard to them as God's representatives. The wise man says, "Honor thy father in word and work, and in all patience." Ecclesiasticus 3. Love of our parents consists in kind feelings and kind actions towards them. We are bound to love our parents, as we are bound to love all men, because they are our neighbor, made in God's image. But this is not enough. They have a right to a special affection on our part, because we are their children, because they love us so tenderly and confer so many benefits upon us. Are not his parents a child's best friends? Love consists in kind sentiments and kind actions. Joseph showed his affection for his old father. He fell on his neck and embracing him wept. Genesis 46. But kind feelings are not enough. That is not love in word nor in tongue, but in deed and in truth. 1 John 3. Therefore we ought to help our parents in destitution or sickness and pray for them. The Prussian general Zieten, when a page, was once on guard at night in the king's antechamber. The king, Frederick I, finding he did not answer his summons, went out and found him asleep over a letter which he was writing to his mother to send her his first earnings in the royal service. The king read the letter and was so touched that he put a roll of money in each of the young man's pockets, and the next morning appointed him to the army. When Blessed Thomas More had been put to death for the faith by order of Henry VIII, no one ventured to bury his remains. His daughter Margaret alone braved the tyrant's wrath, and he, respecting her filial devotion, allowed no one to interfere with her. Even among the lower animals we find examples of affections toward parents. The young lions share their prey with the old, and the storks warm those who have lost their plumage through age. They bring them food and assist them to fly. The wise man says, Son, support the old age of thy father. Ecclesiasticus 3. Remember how our Lord on the cross provided for his mother by commending her to the care of St. John. John 19. The next time we will continue and Rosie will be in a few minutes.
Let all ye praise that fancy loves, I praise and love the child, whose heart no thought, whose tongue no word, whose hand no